Welcome back to my season 2 of Playboy Mysteries. This is my second episode, and I'm not doing my usual video today, so I will be doing audio for this one. So thanks for tuning in. Now, I wanted to dive into always a mystery, but I wanted to say first, this may be considered a mystery or not a mystery, just like all my Playboy Mysteries episodes. I sometimes look at certain cases and wonder, does this all add up? And maybe you might think the same, or maybe you might not, and they might be a mystery or they might not be a mystery. So I wanted to dive right into the topic of discussion of Miss January 1954, which is Margie Harrison, who died on December 23rd, 2006 at the age of 75. And that's about 2 days before Christmas. And Miss February of 1954, Marilyn Waltz, died December 23rd, 2006 at 75 as well. So I guess why I made this video, usually when I stumble upon these cases, and it's very late at night, so on. Sorry about the raspy voice. Mary Jane has kept me up a little bit today. But I was looking at most of these cases like I usually do, researching, and I was going through the database of the death list of Playmates, and this is where I stumbled upon this mystery, I would like to think, in my opinion. Margie Harrison was Miss January of 1954, and Marilyn Waltz was Miss February of 1954. So they're the same calendar year, and they both died at the same age on the same day. Now, who's not to say back in the day, in the 50s, that these two weren't friends, considering they are the same calendar year, and they maybe stumbled upon meeting each other at one of the Playboy events. And why I say that is because they're so close in diameter of the same year, and she's Miss January and she's Miss February, and they both die on the same year, the same day of the same year as well. I digged into Marilyn Waltz a little bit more, who was born Marilyn Ardith Waltz, and she was also Playboy's Miss April 1954, and it was also again Miss Playboy's Miss April 1955. So she's done three Playboy pictorials in total for Playboy. Marilyn Waltz, who was born November 5th, 1931, and died December 23rd, 2006, 2 days before Christmas, which is pretty weird. I'm sure the conspiracy theorist world land would get right into that and love that one. Like, 2 days before Christmas, what's going on? Now, I'd like to think sometimes some things, yes, are coincidences, but considering she's Miss January and she's Miss February of 1954, the same calendar year, who's not to say, in my opinion, that these two were friends maybe at one point, considering they were so close in the same calendar year. Maybe they met each other at a photo shoot, and we're saying maybe I'm doing Playboy and she's going, I'm doing Playboy too, but it's hard to say if these two are friends. I have looked up quite a few articles and about Playboy Mysteries in general, and you really can't find too much information on the older subjects like Margie Harrison. I think sometimes when I get a little bit, I should say raising an eyebrow, usually there is an obituary of some sorts or something, and sometimes maybe the family members just have not gotten around to it, but it's a real shame that I can't find out more about Margie Harrison, who was basically the first woman to model for Playboy and was basically the first Playmate to ever be. And I do believe they had the Sweetheart of the Month prior to that, which was Marilyn Monroe. So Margie basically became the first Playboy Playmate. Now, I wanted to really give my own opinion and personal perspective on a theory and maybe just complete speculation from both of these first two Playmates. The original OGs died, and when I looked at this case, if you will, quote unquote, and I don't know if it's a case to be or what, but I tried looking at some news articles and newspapers, and not really much comes up about Margie Harrison and Marilyn Waltz. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Well, they're both 75 years old. They're getting older, and maybe perhaps they just died on the same day as a coincidence. But something like this, I would not like to think is too much of a coincidence. I mean, it's just too close in time. You know, she's Miss January and she's Miss February, and they both die on the same day. And Marilyn Waltz, when I googled her to see what's going on, and I'm going to double check on this, I do believe she has an IMDb, and I went to it, and it states that she died on the same day, but it does not disclose where she died. Or no, it does disclose it. I must be getting that confused for Miss Harrison. I do believe on Miss Harrison's IMDb it says undisclosed for Margie Harrison's, but when you look at Marilyn Waltz's IMDb, it says she died in Medford, Oregon, USA, and I just think it's weird that Margie Harrison, you know, it's undisclosed where she died. I'd like to know if she died in maybe Oregon as well, or somewhere near there. And Marilyn Waltz, it says she has a spouse, and it says a question mark on his death, and it says they have 2 children. Now, when I do go through these articles and do research on some older Playmates, they do have some of their children listed, their names and stuff like that, but this one for Marilyn Waltz on her IMDb does not state much. And when I researched her spouse, Brett Jordan, not a lot really came up about him as well, so I found that to be a little sinister, you know, considering the world of the internet, like I always say. It's just very odd to me. Marilyn Waltz and Margie Harrison, same calendar year, both died the same day, and usually my other episodes are a little bit longer because I usually get some information or some old newspaper clippings to kind of go off of and give my own personal theories and just a perspective, and mostly speculation for this one, because when I did some research, there was not very much on both of these subjects. I was trying to maybe find pictures of them together as friends, stuff like that, so there's really not a lot in general about these two. If you really do research them, there's not even a death certificate, which sometimes comes up, sometimes not comes up, but I would like to know you guys' thoughts on this, because it does seem a little bit odd to me that 2 people from the same calendar year just die. I mean, it's very weird to me. 2 people, same day, that's it, and there's not really more to this. Maybe not. I don't know if there's more to this or not, because there really is no information. I decided to, you know, Google her and some of these other Playmates, and sometimes I just get a little bit baffled at some of the things going on, because who's to say Margie Harrison and Marilyn Waltz didn't date Hugh Hefner? Now, I do believe in the Girls Next Door. Now that's where my thought is coming back. Well, Holly mentioned something about how she was complaining about her not being on the cover, saying that all of Hugh's, or sorry, I'm tongue-tied, it's very late, all of Hugh Hefner's ex-girlfriends were always on the cover, and she was kind of complaining that she was not on the cover. So I'm just assuming Margie Harrison and maybe Marilyn Waltz dated Hugh Hefner. Now, you know, who's to say he maybe did or did not date these 2? it's just different for me to see that both of these playmates died on the same day, and there's really not a whole lot of obituary news or newspapers or anything like that. But who would want them, if there is a conspiracy theory to this, who would want them dead? It would be my theory. Like, if this was to be something suspicious, I'm just kind of going off speculation here, but I mean, we always see stuff in the media, like, for example, just something a little bit off topic, but trying to get to the point of, maybe you'll see what I'm saying. Sometimes people on their deathbeds are, ready to expose or say something before they pass on, and who's to say somewhere in the world of Playboy, maybe they got wind, a speculation that maybe they're on their deathbeds ready to talk about certain things. Now, I did not I did not stumble on much of both these subjects. When you Google them in the Playboy, and it's just a pictorial and pictures and some minor information out there, but two people ready to maybe expose the truth on their deathbed. My speculation, no truth to this, but I mean, could it be just a simple case of, well, let's make these two playmates that would perhaps maybe know something, because they are the first original two, and as we know, Secrets of Playboy that came out kind of does not shed Mr. Hugh Hefner in the best light, but who's to say maybe these two were maybe going to tell a story together on their deathbeds and maybe go to the media before they die, which is maybe guilty conscience coming on to them, and maybe they both talked because maybe they were friends being the same calendar year, and maybe they decided, well, maybe it's time to tell the real truth, if this is the case. And I'm not saying that is the case, but you just never know nowadays, because I mean, there are so many crazy theories on the Secrets of Playboy that sometimes when I get to researching these playmates, I sometimes wonder, like, well, what's going on here? Like, why would they both die on the same day, at the same age as well? And I know what you're thinking, they're older, blah blah blah, but that's what I was gonna say, this getting off topic, but usually there's like the rappers on their deathbed ready to say, I know who done it, and I'm ready to expose the truth on my deathbed, and who's to say maybe this was not the case? I mean, it is very odd, and I don't like to think certain things are just coincidences, or oh, that just happened to be, well, let's perhaps say if they were both different calendar years and maybe many decades apart, and they both died on the same day, then I would look at it as probably as a coincidence. But being Miss January and Miss February of 1954 does kind of lead me to believe maybe they were ready to chirp on their deathbed. Just my speculation and opinion. Does not mean I'm right, does not mean I'm trying to justify this by making this video. It's just a simple opinion on two public figures with hardly any information on their death or just their life existence in general. So this is a little bit shorter of a episode. I usually like to make them a little bit longer, but when you're not finding so much information on these two, it's very hard to really give you facts at hand, or even, what I mean by facts at hand, maybe I go off a newspaper that was published, and I usually like to think sometimes they are accurate and sometimes not, but at least there's some facts, because there can be facts in some newspaper articles, and not all the time, but Marilyn Waltz and Margie Harrison will be a mystery to me. I mean, 2 days before Christmas is pretty tragic if there was anything sinister going on. I mean, I do believe somewhere in the Girls Next Door episode in 2006, they're opening presents on Christmas Day and having fun. And if there is anything sinister with Marilyn Waltz and Margie Harrison, then it just looks really sad on an outsider's perspective. It really does look sad when you really look at it. Like, let's say perhaps if something sinister was to happen with their death, I mean, 2 days before Christmas, that's what makes me believe it's a little bit of a mystery. And that's why I do these Playboy mysteries, because maybe they were ready to chirp on their deathbed and it was close to Christmas, and maybe they had phone conversations with each other. And it's a real shame that I couldn't find more information on these two, like I said, because maybe I could have contacted their family members or some of their relatives and maybe asked them their opinions on this, because it is very odd two playmates die on the same day, same calendar year, like I always go on about. And the obituaries is hardly nothing. No, hardly any information just in general on these two. And I sometimes spend too much time on the internet, shocker, but and when I do spend too much time on the internet, I do really find lots of information and, certain mysteries that I like to think I uncovered. And there was this one Playboy cover model, which is off topic from Marilyn Waltz and Margie Harrison. There's this one cover model that I wanted to dive into another time, and when I get more of my research done, and there's a couple of items that I need to buy in order to really talk about the next upcoming episode, so I might be a little bit late on my next episode, which would be episode 3. And if not, if the package comes in too late, then I will talk about another Playboy mystery. Now, when I was Googling these two women, Marilyn Waltz and Margie Harrison, and I was looking at some other playmates, and it looked like, perhaps 2 other playmates died on the same day a couple years later. Now, I can't confirm if those 2 actually did die on the same day, which is kind of ironic, because it's just, I don't know if they both died on the same day. I'm trying to find the cases. I think they were from 2017, or maybe 2016, but they both died on the same day as well, and I thought that was kind of sinister. Or no, they both didn't die on the same day. Yeah, they both did die on the same day. I don't know. But I do know that Marilyn Waltz and Margie Harrison did die on the same day. And I was looking at 2 other playmates, I think they died on the same day as well. So, do you notice a pattern here? Like, when I did my 3 playmates died in 1991, they're all 1960s playmates dying in the year of 1991, except for Ashlyn Martin, who I believe maybe her case is something different and not related from Playboy, but I don't know much about Marilyn Waltz and Margie Harrison. I guess the point is 3 playmates from the 60s die, and then Miss January and Miss February both die on the same date. Now, I think there's a pattern here, especially when I look up other cases as well. I notice that there's just a pattern here, or unsolved, and it really boggles my mind, is that there's no obituaries for these 2, Marilyn Waltz and Margie Harrison. None. Maybe there is, and I just glanced by it, but there's really no cause of death either for both of these women, which is even more weird for me. So who knows if this is a mystery or not a mystery. But my next video will be about a Playboy cover model. She was not a playmate, but usually when I do these mystery videos, it's either a playmate or a model or anyone really that was associated with the brand. And I was looking into the model that got burnt in the dumpster, They said she was a Playboy model, and I got to diving into that, and I'm not too sure if I want to do that one, because when I did my research online, her boyfriend did an article saying she wasn't a Playboy model and wasn't associated with them, and even he said he doesn't know why that got thrown out there. She might be a Playboy model, the one that got burnt in the dumpster, but when I did some research on that just for fun, the first thing that came to my mind was, well, it's beside a propane tank store, and her body was burnt to the point where only, I do believe, her teeth were left. So why is that such an unsolved crime for so many years? I mean, she died beside a propane tank facility that sells propane and all sorts of shit. Of course, that would blow her right the F up and burn her. You know, and I just don't know how they did not solve that one, even if she's not a Playboy model. Don't mind me, I'm just having some of my Diet Coke here. But I don't know why they haven't figured that one out. Let's talk to some of the propane employees. Maybe they might know something. I'm not too sure. Maybe you guys could give me a little better insight. I do believe her name is Paula, and she got burnt in a dumpster. The reason why I want to know more information is because if she is a Playboy model or was associated with Playboy, then maybe I might dive into it. But if not, I'm not going to bother. And anyways, just before I end this video, I wanted to let you guys know that www.justafrenzy.com, I think you knew that was coming, is being renovated, and by the time this video is up, there will be a couple new items that will be for sale, some Playboy related, some not Playboy related, horror movie items. But yes, I'm doing a complete renovation. I do give updates on my website as well at justafrenzy.com, so if you want to go check it out and maybe see what's going on over there, I do give updates, so please check it out when you can, and thank you for tuning in if you feel like it. And no pressure, because it sounds very cliche when you come on here, like, please like, subscribe, and comment. I'm sure some people will just even roll their eyes going, I'm not going to subscribe. But if you tune back to my page and just peek, and not even subscribe, but you just keep peeking at my videos, thank you, I do appreciate it. You don't always have to subscribe, but it does help intrigue other people to look at my page. If the numbers are just a little higher, there's only a couple subscribers here, but hey, I'm thankful for the viewers I do have, so thank you again so much for listening to my Gab Fest. I'd like to know what your guys' thoughts are on Marilyn Waltz and Margie Harrison dying on the same day, 2 days before Christmas too. So anyways, check out justafrenzy.com, and thank you for listening to my video.